tons and tons of people follow Dave Ramsey who have found themselves in a debt-ridden situation. As they're trying to get out of debt, they somehow stumble upon Dave Ramsey and his 7 baby steps that you can use to get out of debt and live a financially free life. In his opinion, this is the best way to do it. I have one major disagreement with Dave Ramsey that hurts people in a major way who are trying to get out of debt. I'm going to talk about what that is in this video, but first, before we get into all that, if you're new here, thank you for being here. I'm Austin. I'm a co-owner of cloudbusinesstweet.com. I'm also a stock market investor, make finance content here on the channel. We're sitting somewhere in the 2,000 subscriber range. If you're not subscribed already, go ahead and click that subscribe button, become one of those 2,000 subscribers, and click the like button as I thank you for doing those two things. Here's a picture of my dog, and then a picture of both my cats, Millie and Luna. Millie's the gray one, Luna's the brown one. They all thank you for subscribing. Okay, so Dave Ramsey has these 7 baby steps, all right? Let's look at the 7 baby steps first, and then I'm gonna address the one that I disagree with in a major way. So these are steps that Dave Ramsey says every single person should take in order to take control of their money. Step number 1 is to save $1,000 for a starter emergency fund. Step number 2, pay off all debt except for the house using the debt snowball method. The debt snowball method says take your smallest debt that you owe first and completely pay it off while paying the minimum payments on the rest. And then step 3, save 3 to 6 months of expenses in a fully funded emergency fund. Step 4, invest 15% of your household income in retirement. Step 5, save for your children's college fund. Step 6, pay off your home early. Step 7, build wealth and give. Although some of these I have some minor disagreements with, there's one I have an absolutely major disagreement with, and it's actually the very first baby step. The very first baby step says save an emergency fund of $1,000, and then you move straight into aggressively paying off all your debt, starting with the smallest debt amount first, then moving up to the next one, then moving up to the next one with that debt snowball method. I do not believe that $1,000 in an emergency fund is anywhere close to enough, especially if you have a partner, if you have a house, if you have any pets, if you have any kids. $1,000 ain't nothing. To get hit with an unexpected $1,000 expense is extremely common. To get hit with multiple $1,000 expenses within a short period of time is also extremely common. Like I said, especially if you have a house, if you have a car, if you have a partner, if you have kids, if you have pets, all of those things are very expensive, and something can go wrong with one of those things in a very short amount of time. I think before starting to pay off all that debt through that debt snowball method and aggressively paying down debt, a much better number to go for in that emergency fund for a starter emergency fund is $10,000. $10,000 minimum in that starter emergency fund. That will actually give you a legitimate cushion if things start to come up. If the transmission in your car breaks, if your AC breaks, if your car breaks down, if you get sick, your wife gets sick, your kids get sick, your pets get sick, that's actually going to cover that money. Because if all you have is $1,000, you know what you're gonna have to do? You're gonna have to go back into debt in order to pay off whatever that emergency expense is that's over $1,000. You can make the argument that, hey, $10,000 is not enough either. What if I have an expense that's worth $10,000? It's a lot less likely to have a $10,000 expense than it is to have a $1,000 expense. So let's put some reality in the mix. Yes, I think $10,000 should be the bare minimum. I'm not saying you can't go over that. So maybe a better amend would even say, completely get rid of baby step number 1 and just put his baby step number 3 in the place of baby step number 1. So there's only 6 baby steps now. So the amendment would be, instead of step number 1, save $1,000 for your starter emergency fund, just take step 3 and put it as step number 1. Save 3 to 6 months of expenses in a fully funded emergency fund. And you can go past that as well if you're very risk averse. Go up to 12 months of living expenses in an emergency fund. It's all about your risk tolerance and how much money you need in cash to have peace of mind. That is the idea behind this emergency fund. We don't want to dip into debt. We don't want to dip into our investments, and we don't want to have to do anything with our home, like take a new mortgage on our house in order to pay for any expenses. So within reason, I would say up to about 12 months of expenses makes a lot of sense to have in an emergency fund before you start allocating your cash toward aggressive debt paydown, or starting to allocate your cash toward aggressive investing or aggressive mortgage paydown if you're trying to pay the house off early, okay? Building a massive emergency fund should be step number 1, then starting to pay down that debt. I would argue that you don't even have the discipline. You haven't built the discipline enough yet if you only built that $1,000 emergency fund. You really need to create a saver's mindset in order to get out of debt. You're gonna have to cut those expenses down a lot if you really wanna get out of debt fast. And building that emergency fund is a really good risk-free way to build up your ability to have that saver's mindset. So if you're a big Dave Ramsey kind of guy and you listen to everything Dave Ramsey says, my opinion, just put more money into your emergency fund. You don't need that $1,000 starter emergency fund. You need a large emergency fund, a fat emergency fund before you ever worry about allocating your cash to anything else in order to stay stress-free, in order to stay secure, in order to stay happy, and in order to stay safe. I would say it's borderline irresponsible to say that you should aggressively start paying down debt when all you have saved is $1,000. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know what you think about Dave Ramsey in general in the comments below. I have some other disagreements as well, but we'll just stick with this one for the day. I appreciate you being here in a major way. Thank you so much. Have a great day.